Yo, there is a brilliantly sinister psychological trick hidden deep inside your bi-weekly paycheck that's specifically engineered by corporate America to completely paralyze your entrepreneurial drive and keep you dependent on a boss for the rest of your life. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to expose exactly how the paycheck leash functions. And then I'll hand you the precise asset blueprint to break completely free without risking your livelihood. Hey, I'm Isai Rodriguez, and this is Home Business Hustle. If you're a working dad who's been successful on paper, but broke on time, you're in the right place. We don't do the guru hype here. We don't do the laptop on a beach fairy tales. We just do the work that actually works. So let's get right into it. So just last Tuesday, I was looking over an old corporate performance review from, a few years back, and it hit me like a physical slap in the face, right? Like I felt it at that moment, felt it across my cheek, right? In fact, I vividly remembered sitting in my cubicle, staring at a tiny digital notification on my phone screen that said something to the effect of, one of those random messages you get that says your direct deposit has cleared. And I got one of those, right? And for about 3 seconds, I felt this little wave of artificial relief, right? Then a cold shudder went down my spine, right? I just felt it, right? I realized that monthly drop of cash wasn't a reward for my talent. It was an invoice, right? Bear with me. What I mean is that it was the exact price that my company paid me to forget about my own dreams for another 30 days, right? It is a beautifully designed trap, right? And you know what? The more responsible that you try to be by climbing that corporate ladder, the tighter that leash around your neck gets, right? You start adjusting your entire lifestyle to match your leash, right? So, you buy a slightly nicer car just to drive to a building that you hate, right? And suddenly you're trapped by comfort, right? I realized right then that if I didn't find a way to build a real financial asset in the margins of my life, then someone else would always dictate exactly what my time is worth. Think about that. That's a scary thing to think about, right? Let's be brutally honest about the first major illusion keeping you stuck. And that's the illusion of what I call the golden cage of security. See, people think a 9-to-5 job is safe because it's predictable, right? But having only one source of income, one single boss who can delete your entire livelihood with a single HR email on a random Thursday afternoon is the absolute definition of extreme financial risk. Think about it. You're completely exposed. You're betting your mortgage, your marriage, your family, your peace of mind on the competence of a corporate executive who doesn't even know your middle name, right? Which brings me to the second truth that you have to swallow, right? And that's the truth of the paycheck leash mechanics, right? How does this leash actually work? That's what you need to understand. The truth behind it, right? And what I found is that it always gives you just enough to survive, right? That leash, they allow you to roam just enough, right? But it's never quite enough to escape completely and become totally independent, right? You're never fully off that leash, no matter how much, how much slack they give you. It's a highly addictive substance, if you ask me. It trains your brain. That paycheck trains your brain to trade your limited hours for money on a linear scale. If you don't show up to the office, the money completely stops, right? That's insane. That's insane, right? I know I realized this way early on, right? this whole trading your time for dollars. I knew there was something better. I always felt like something was better, right? Because what I found is that true independence doesn't come from selling your hours at a premium salary, right? It comes from owning the asset that produces income independent of your physical presence, independent of your physical work, right? When professionals when they finally realize that they're trapped, they usually run straight to the obvious, the obvious highly advertised alternatives, right? They try the gig economy, or they try starting a massive e-commerce store, right? Where they have to manage, customer service, shipping delays, and thousands of dollars worth of physical inventory. But guess what? Those aren't assets either, right? You've just bought yourself a second, far more chaotic job, right? You're still essentially trading your hours for pennies, just, through a different smartphone app, right? What you have to do is you have to adopt what I call the asset lever, right? To truly snap that leash from around your neck, you have to build a digital infrastructure, right? Think about a highway toll booth, right? Once that toll booth is built, the owner of that booth doesn't have to stand there waving cars through, right? It's not like, hey, waving people down like, hey, come through this toll booth, right? They don't do that manually, one by one, right? No, the digital system collects the toll automatically. That's the shift that we need to be making here, right? We're building automated online funnels that deliver value, capture premium leads, and essentially convert interest into residual income while you sleep, right? We're completely disconnecting your income from your clock, right? That right there is the ultimate goal. The moment that you start thinking like an asset owner instead of an employee, that's the exact moment that your income potential becomes completely unlimited, right? So I want to pause right here for a second. Look, I want you to be completely honest with me. Drop a comment right below this video and tell me right now, what is the single biggest thing that you've had to miss out on in life? Whether it's a kid's game, a family dinner, or just your own peace of mind. What is it that you missed out on because of your job's rigid schedule, right? I'm curious. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. And while you're there in the comments, let me drop this last thing on you, okay? Don't let corporate comfort lull you into a permanent financial sleep, right? Don't let them put on their little corporate kumbaya music and make you go to, put you to bed, right? If you remember absolutely nothing else from today, I want you to write this down on a sticky note and paste it to your bathroom mirror, right? Here's the thing. This is the bottom line, if you will. A salary is just the price they pay you to give up on your own independence, right? Listen, you don't need a flashier job title. You need an automated system that works when you don't, right? And so if you're ready to stop settling for a predictable cage and want a front row seat to see the exact digital machinery that I'm using to build a genuine exit ramp out of the corporate grind, then I've put together an incredibly detailed private blueprint that strips away all the fluff and shows you the actual math behind the magic, right? Now, I'm not going to give you a soft sales pitch right here. Just click the link in the description below, grab the guide, and see how the game is actually won on your terms, right? That's it. It's your move now. What you're going to do. All right. That's all for today. Remember, information without execution is just a hobby, and you didn't click on this video because you needed another hobby. You clicked because you're ready to build something that lasts. So go hug your kids and then go do the work. All right. But first, don't forget to hit the link in the description for your free guide, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Let's get to work, guys. Take care. Bye.